Thank you for tuning in to our Invest Palm Beach Leadership Summit. You're about to watch a special fireside chat, Relentless Leadership, with Netflix's members-only Palm Beach Romina. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more leadership perspectives. Enjoy.
Wants to be one of the best investment Kellys in the United States. And in order to do that, we need fresh blood. And I was thinking about the season, and Romina herself has played an entrepreneurial story, aside from what you see in the show, if anyone had watched the show. And so I was so excited to be diving in with you today. And I guess we have to start at the top. Tell us about the show and what you personally learned from it. What were the personal takeaways?
I think one of the biggest personal takeaways was that you just have to be yourself, and people are going to love you for it, and just staying true to what you believe in. The entire show, someone was trying to change some part of me, and I am who I am. So I always tell people, you're going to either love it or hate it, but that's your problem. This is me.
And I think authenticity is really hard to find. And it's something that I think is required of the leaders. You know, we're talking to a group of leaders today, and it's very difficult to show up as a leader every day in the professional space while give yourself grace to being a person as well. How did you find that balance of authenticity?
Like I said, you just have to be true to who you are. There's no reason to act like how someone wants you to act. And I think that is how I created my success, was I was just really friendly and, very smiley, because it's just who I am. And people love that. It's just like, be yourself, and that's okay. And I think a lot of people really are afraid of being themselves, and it makes me so sad. And if there's one thing I can give away to the world, is like, love yourself and love who you are.
And before you moved to Palm Beach, you're an entrepreneur in your own right, and you built a home health care company with your brother and sold it for $50 million. That is incredibly impressive. Tell us a brief story of what that was and what led you to sell. Not all entrepreneurs want to walk away from their company. Why was it an appropriate time for you to do so?
Well, the healthcare business is not an easy business, and it's constantly changing. And we were hearing about some of the changes, which would have really affected us in a way that we didn't know whether it would be positive or negative. And when we got offered, obviously, an amazing sum, it was just like a no-brainer for us. And I also, at that time, really started pursuing my music and then I like clothing brand. So for me, it was easier to be like, okay, I'd be like, I'll take this lump sum and move on and, go into bigger and better things.
And this was all up in the Philly area. I grew up in South Jersey, so Philly was my city growing up as well. Why Palm Beach?
Oh my God, because it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's warm. The palm trees, the beach, the attire, even though I still don't dress very Palm Beach.
So, I alluded this in the beginning of when I was kicking off the show, that I worked very hard for my Palm Beach floral today. And before we walked in, Romina did compliment me. So I passed the fit check, guys.
It is very Palm Beach, but I'm always promoting my brand. So wherever I go, usually I'm wearing my clothing brand.
And, the clothing brand, the music, the home health, where do you attribute your entrepreneurial bone to?
Definitely my dad. He's always been an entrepreneur. And the reason we came to America, I love telling the story, it was because back then in Uzbekistan, it was a communist country, and my dad figured out a way to have his own business. But unfortunately, that was not allowed, and he was supposed to be shot to death by the government. Yeah, it was like, having your own business was literally the worst thing you could do. And so we had to flee and run to America for safety. So, and he started back up from nothing. While he was, back then, the average pay per month was $100 a month. My dad was making like $5,000 a month, but he was constantly having to pay off the cops and people that were chasing him. So anyways, when we came to America, he couldn't take any of that with him, and he had to start again from zero. And he went to being a pizza delivery man, cleaning toilets and all of this, because he knew that if you work hard, anything is possible. And eventually he was able to help us and give us the life that he really, thought we deserved and wanted to give us.
as I was watching the show, I know some of these facts that are dropped throughout the season. And my dad has also been an inspiration to me. He was an entrepreneur in his own right, and now he works with me. And I lovingly call him my CLO, my Chief Life Officer.
Oh, I love that. This. Good to call my dad that.
And all eyeballs are on you right now. You know, the show was just launched. It's on Netflix. It's a huge streaming channel. How do you lead when so many eyeballs are on you?
I guess because I've just always felt like there was all these eyeballs on me. So for me, it's like the more it's a bit earlier. Yeah, like it actually gives me more energy, and it pushes me to like do more, go farther, and go above and beyond, because I love to inspire people. When people send me messages that are inspirational, it's literally like the best feeling you can get, you know, because it also like makes me feel like I'm doing something great. Yes. You know, I grew up with 2 older brothers. I don't know if anyone else has older brothers, but they always make you feel like you're, you know, the stupid little one. So I always felt like I had to try harder and work harder. So when people tell me that I inspire them, it's literally the best feel. That's what would.
We have spoken a bit about relentless leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And first, define that for me. What is relentless leadership for you?
Just going at something like full force, not giving up, not taking no for an answer, not listening to the negative noises. For example, I've been wanting to be a singer since I was 5 years old. And throughout my life, I've had a lot of people say that I can't sing. And for some people, that may turn them off and be like, oh, like I shouldn't do this because they said I can't sing. But that never stopped me. I'm like, you think I can't sing? Watch me sing louder, right? You know, so that's what I said. That's what I mean by relentless. It's like, it doesn't matter what you say. It matters what I want and how I'm going to get there.
Yes. And what does that mean for your other passion projects, like design?
Yeah, the same thing. Like a lot of people
It's a very difficult industry to be at.
Very difficult. A lot of people are like, oh, this patent leather. I'm like, okay, that's just what I started with. This is the beginning of my collection. That doesn't mean that's all I know how to do or all I know how to design. So I just want to keep wowing people and proving them wrong. Like that moment when you know you prove someone wrong and like you made it and they don't even have like a negative thing to say, it's like the best feeling. So,
and when you're talking, I'm hearing, you know, you defining relentless, but I'm also hearing fearless. What do you say to people who are thinking about starting a business, making a career move, doing something, you know, that's uncomfortable? What do they do about that fear?
Anything great will always be uncomfortable. You can't reach the highs and the greatness if you do something that makes you comfortable. If you're in your comfortable zone, then you're just, you know, you're here, like in this middle line. But if you want to move up, then there's going to be so many times that you're uncomfortable. So if you are feeling uncomfortable, that means you're doing the right thing.
And then how does one start? Like, how do they find that first step?
Sorry, I'm still getting over my cold. I think the first step is figuring out what you love to do and how you can monetize on something that you love, because there are so many different types of jobs and businesses out there. That's why one of the first questions I always ask when I meet someone is, what do you do for a living? Because every single person does something so different that you never know what you're going to learn from that person. And it's something that you may have never thought of. And you're like, oh, you do that. That even all that, someone does that, you know? So anything that you are passionate about, there is somehow a way for you to make money from that. That's what I believe. So.
And you've been in Palm Beach for a minute now, but still relatively new to Palm Beach. And we've been talking all today about business opportunities, how Palm Beach is developing. What have been your observations as kind of like the missing elements of Palm Beach? Where can businesses or entrepreneurs or people get involved that you've observed?
I mean, for me personally, just because I love to go out and dance, I feel like there's not enough places and to like dancing.
Who's, you know, like a lot of industry here.
So if there was more places like that, like I've been to Bearing Booze, I don't know if I've been there, and it's cute, but it's also like all the music is always like disco. So I wish there was something more modern, more fun, more like take Miami, but bring it to Palm Beach. I think it would do great because there's a huge young generation here too, and they all want to go out and they just have nowhere to go.
Yeah. I was recently at David Grutman's house. He does a lot of clubs in Miami. We started bringing him up here. He's just on the road.
Oh, I like. Okay, I want to be next. Like invited to his party. Yes, and to look at that. You're so little very glad that he has some great part of his.
And what do you think, there was one element of the show where it really stuck out to me, because when you want to change something, if you want to be authentic, sometimes it is met with resistance. And there was sometimes you were met with resistance. And when I think of all the opportunity that Palm Beach has, how quickly should we adapt? How quickly should we change to be the Palm Beach of tomorrow? So if you're kind of envisioning what Palm Beach could look like at the near term future, what does that look like? Like, who's here? What kind of businesses are here? How might the vibe change?
I think there's so many new people coming here from all over the world. And I think that being open to different cultures should not be a bad thing. I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think there is so many restaurants, different types of food that can open and I mean, all of it. I just feel like there needs to be something other than just the flowery dress.
Except for mine is a gorgeous flower. Well, I'd like to open up to the audience if anyone has a question for Romina. Anyone like to ask anything?
What's your favorite memory during the show? Like, was there any Colbergs?
Yeah, for me, the birthday event that I had was definitely the most meaningful because I got to sing my songs and have a beautiful fashion show. Unfortunately, they didn't air the fashion show. But for me, to know that I'm being filmed for Netflix doing these, my passion projects, for me, like when I was trying to do my toast, I was doing a speech before I couldn't get the speech out. Like I just kept tearing up. So I was like, oh my God. So for me, that was definitely the highlight of it because I've always thought that reality TV would be like a great gateway to the things that I want to do. So it's something I've wanted for so long. And so now here it's happening on Netflix. And that year that I got this show, I actually, for the first time, wrote down the things that I wanted for myself, like really manifesting. And that was the year that I got the show. So for me, like I believe in that so much now. Just if you have an idea or you have a passion or you have a wish, write it down and see how much like your life could change to that.
Truly, reality TV, that can be a game changer. I have a good friend who was on Shark Tank, and she eventually sold her company for $100 million.
Yeah, like you don't know. Like I feel like it's the perfect gateway.
Yep.
We have another question over there. Hi.
Hi, good morning.
We have
John Marcos, the Chamber of Commerce of the Palm Beaches. We actually met last Saturday at the Andrew Cameron. Yeah, so we do. Yeah. Good. How are you? Question would be, since you talked about culture, moving, coming in, do you feel welcome in the business industry and the community?
I think that I'm starting to. In the beginning, it was definitely a little bit more difficult because if you watch the show, like one of the members was like, well, you're an American now. I don't think that because we're in America that we have to like completely change ourselves to being an American. We can still be whatever culture we are, whether it's being from Uzbekistan, Indian, Mexican, whatever it is, you bring that. I feel like that's what America was built on, And so that's the whole point of it, is that we are like this big cultural soup, and that's okay. And I think that in Palm Beach, it just wasn't that before. And I think it's okay to accept that what is what it could turn into.
Yes. It is. And it's pronounced Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan.
But no one ever said it. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Any other questions? Yes.
How much do you feel like you're writing this down into my pursuit?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't think it's that much different. But then again, yeah, like when I see like all of a sudden there's something in the news and we're like, oh, okay. But I don't know, it excites me. This is like, I've always wanted to be famous. So that to me is something that I'm like, I was ready for this. I was open to this. I accept this and I wanted this. So for me, it's a good thing, but it may not be for everyone. And if it's not, then I shouldn't do a reality TV show.
Excellent. We'll take one more question.
Yeah, let's take them. Yeah, good coach.
Hi, Romina, follow the reviewers to creative leadership. Hi. First, I want to say my admiration to you. I saw the show and I saw how, that we're just trying to, like you said, change you into someone that you're not. And I understand there is a level of etiquette and expectation, but you stayed true to yourself and you remain authentic, which is so powerful. So I wanted to say that first of all, give you credit and so nice for doing that. My question is, where do you get your inspiration from? And actually, two questions. For your kind of acting, singing, and design goals in your business, and also what type of legacy do you want to leave for the future generations?
Oh, I love that. I think I'm inspired by everything. Like I could be, I don't know, like on vacation somewhere and I get inspired. And I'm working on a Palm Beach line actually for like more colorful stuff. And I'm using pictures that I took when I was in Uzbekistan from the mosques. So like I'm using that as my inspiration. But for music, a lot of my songs I wrote because I was working on and trying to become like a famous singer. So a lot of my songs are actually written about like not giving up, not taking no for an answer, never giving, like all of that. So it's like about turning into like a superstar. I actually have a song called Superstar. So that's where my inspiration comes from. It's just like what I feel inside of me and what I want to achieve. And the legacy I want to leave is that anything is possible. And like for my kids are also very, very creative. And I just want to show them that anything is possible if you put in the work. Like you can't just sit around and be lazy and think that everything was going to work out. That's not how life works. You can have a passion, you can have a dream, but you have to work for it and you got to put in the time. So they see me working all the time. And my son gave me like the most beautiful speech, a 16-year-old. At my birthday, that is one of the things that he said. So I was like, oh my God, it's working. Like he sees it. And I just like, I go like head first into everything I want and I don't think about it. I'm just like, this is what I gotta do and I'm doing it. And I feel like that's the people who really make it in life always say the same thing. It's don't give up, keep going, put in the work.
Well, I was so inspired by Romina when I watched the series. I'm so grateful that you said yes to come to speak to us today. I just love your story, and thank you so much for sharing that today. And let's please give Romina another round of applause.
Thank you guys for having me.
Make those out.
Yeah.
Because we thought she's fine again. Yeah.